Dominic, you're up first.
Yeah, just two small things. This is the um an issue I opened a long time ago about wrong time measurements for WebSockets, and I just recently got around to fixing it. And I see there's someone assigned, but there's no one reviewing it currently. So I just wanted to sort of re-raise the awareness of it, because we also recently just pushed a fix also about the same like timing issues for regular requests. So it would be nice if we had both fixes in the same next release. And yeah, if someone got around to just reviewing it, that would be awesome. It's sort of also blocking the related stuff I linked, which is GoRoute is currently missing the session affinity handling for WebSockets. So if a WebSocket app puts a JSession ID cookie, that's basically ignored by GoRoute currently. And I was planning on using the same kind of mechanisms to test it as I did for the GoRoute time measurement. So unless that's merged, this one's blocked. So yeah, and we have a customer waiting for this kind of feature. So I just wanted to like push it a little bit, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, noted. I'll make sure that someone gets looking at it.
Cool.
Don't want you to get all blocked up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you for doing that. WebSockets doesn't get a lot of love, as I'm sure
Yeah,
you've seen.
I realized that.
Great, thank you. I see you also have something here next
Yeah,
about endpoint.
that's really like strange. We haven't seen this before. We just recently, like I think in the last 4 weeks, we updated to the CF deployment, and we observed this strange behavior where when you do a CF scale and you remove instances, so you scale in, or if you do a CF push, but only if you use strategy rolling, the rolling strategy option, then there is and like for 10 minutes, every 30 seconds, you get repeated unregistered messages from nuts in GoRoute, trying to unregister the same instance over and over again. And it goes on for 10 minutes, and we haven't found the source yet. And I just wanted to ask if anyone was aware of that behavior, or if it's new, and who would be in charge for like digging into this. Because right now I don't think it would be networking. It must be coming from, I don't know, runtime maybe.
So we had issues at one point where we used to only send unregistered messages once. But then if GoRouter misses it, right, Nat says lossy, GoRouter misses it, one GoRouter would keep that. And then you could imagine if you were just unmapping a route, like the app is still there, then you would still connect to it, and we were getting issues around that. So we started, when we're doing deregistration, there's like now kind of like a cache that says, oh, I'm going to send this unregistration message for 10 minutes or, whatever you observed here. Unless someone maps it again to that thing, and then which case I'll stop sending them. That happened, I'm going to say over a year ago, probably several years ago at this point. We might have, I think we touched it recently, maybe with readiness health checks.
Yeah.
So I wonder if something changed, because you should have been getting this, this continual unregistration messages. But my guess is what you noticed is this logging, right? That's what changed. You didn't have this logging before.
Yeah, I think we introduced it, even the logging. So the thing is, why does it not show when you just do a CF stop or delete? Because then you also send a unregistered message that could potentially get lost, right? So to us, it's just creating sort of a like the storm of messages, because it happens for each and every endpoint that you have, and we have lots of routes. Sorry, guys. My kid is just joining us in the call. All right, then. So maybe we'll just ask offline then and
Yeah.
discuss it later. Okay.
Yeah, feel free to send what you have and like what's changed, because nothing should have changed in this most recent
All right.
release. And we can always improve it if the logging is getting too much.
Okay.
Next we have Eric, editing as we go.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we're planning on adding new optional routing algorithms to the Go router on a platform-wide basis. That would they'd be variations on the current round robin and least connection algorithms, where the Go routers would prefer app instances that it can determine are in its same AZ before it sends traffic to other app instances. So again, this is something that we mentioned a few months ago around some of the CFD activity. Anyway, we've got a customer that really strongly wants this. We're not the hugest fans of this anyway, but they're committing very strongly to using it. So we just wanted to raise that for visibility, so it doesn't surprise anyone. Also, for any discussion here too.
Yeah, and I know that some folks at SAP have been thinking of how can we have like AZ failover be nicer in Go router. I don't think this will solve that issue, but I think it will do a lot of the plumbing. So if we wanted to add that, if we wanted to add that logic in, it will probably be a lot easier after this work. So, it will do the plumbing of adding which AZ each route is in and having that logic exist in the routes table in the Go router.
I was just going to ask, is there a design document up for discussion for this? Or is it like a VMware internal right now?
It's all VMware internal right now, but I can raise that up and get you something that you can leave comments on, because I know you've thought deeply in this area.
Yeah. I mean, we were just like looking into the same sort of feature also for making the routing algorithm configurable by customers. So it would be basically going into the same kind of area.
Right.
And I just wanted to make sure that we like are aligned on the design here.
Yeah, that'd be great. I know Patrick's mentioned that a few times, but I understand he can't attend today.
Yeah, he's off.
Yeah, I think we'd also be pretty interested in seeing that move forward, the more granular configurability for routing algorithms. So want to definitely make sure we're not making things too much more difficult for us down the line here.
Great. Mark.
Hi. Let's see. So I think I don't know if anybody's aware of this, but I worked with Amelia and we kind of made this working group for application working group project board, and it's kind of isolated with tabs for the various projects that are under the working group, the Runtime working group. I've been just chipping away at it. But I know it's a great opportunity for people to get their various bits that they need, whether it be approver or contributor. These are great opportunities here. So I've been going through and auditing as much as I can. I've been primarily focusing in the areas that I have my approver in, which is Diego, Garden, networking. I think that's it. Maybe more. But I think there's a lot of opportunity here for people to just review, approve, and work towards getting their approver bits. A lot of easy, low-hanging fruit here, if you can just see like the dependency bumps and stuff like that. And so just kind of a little advertisement for this working group board. an advertisement for the fact that there are easy ways to get that approver bit for people who don't have it, and just asking for a little bit of help if people desire to do so.
And remind me, Mark, I remember I helped you with my admin permissions to get this set up, but is this all, are you doing manual work here? Is this all happening automatically, things being pulled in?
So this automatically, anytime an issue, PR, or anything of that nature gets created within one of the associated repos, it automatically gets added to the inbox here, and then various members can take a look at things. I think in order to move something from inbox to pending review and etc., it requires approver access for that. So just a heads up on that. But if you at me on a topic, I'm more than happy to help shift you over to where you need to be.
Yeah, one of the issues we were running in with the old projects that you might remember is those projects were limited to 25 repos each, and cards weren't added automatically, so I had to manually like pull them in. And as you know, we have more than 25 repos per area. So hopefully this will help be a place where we can view it like all of our repo across everything in one place.
My goal
Go
is to
ahead.
get it down as much as possible. We're at 200 right now, but I'd like it to be able to get to a spot where we might even be able to discuss these, the inbox on this call. But I don't think it's in a spot where we can do that just yet.
Is it possible to somehow pin the dashboard to the working group Slack channel so that we have at least a direct link to it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I love that idea. And maybe I could mark other projects boards as deprecated. Now that we have a one-stop shop instead of having 6 or whatever we had that weren't complete even as they were. Thank you so much for doing that, Mark. Yes, it's a big task to tackle all those open things that have been left open over the years.
I've gotten through like, I want to say almost 100 already. So chipping away at it.
Carson.
Thanks for doing this, Yo. Definitely, I know I've spent a good amount. I spend like some time each day at manually adding things onto the old product board for logging and metrics, and it's a pain in the butt. So it'll be super nice to have that automatic add. I'm just looking at the board in my own browser, and I'm a little curious whether we could get issues from the various groups in their specific tabs as well. Because I guess I don't know if I don't know if I totally understand why issues would only be in the working group backlog rather than in each of the individual tabs as well. Because I know for me, I don't really care about sifting through all the issues from a lot of the other working groups. I really just want to go straight to the logging and metrics issues.
I will leave that as an action item for Mark to investigate.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see. Call it, Carson. Any more thoughts about our new working group project board? Okay. Jovan, you as an approver.
I don't know. I feel I'm ready for that. I don't know. I've been contributing since maybe in mid 2020 to the logging and metrics repos, and I'm currently writing the pull request where I list all my most valuable contributions to the projects, and we've discussed it with Carson and Benjamin Fuller some time ago, and I remember that there was or at least when we were doing the pull request, there were many validation pipelines that had to be triggered manually, and the whole like built and validation process was running on some kind of internal VMware servers, which are if we want to open up a bit and to get new contributors, if we should think about how to put this hurdle away. I don't know. It's sort of a technical thing, Carson. Maybe you know some details more than
Yeah.
I do, but
It's a good call out. And I know other folks within VMware have moved much faster to address like exposing their pipelines to the open source. It's something we definitely want to do. It's just been on the back burner, given that it's just been VMware folks for quite a large amount of time. But we can definitely work together to see how we can make this visible.
Yoram, when you're talking about validation pipelines, are you talking about just the validation that runs that like gives you the approver role, like that kind of process,
no, for
or all
example,
of the pipelines for like logging in?
all of the pipelines. I'm talking like pull request validations, because we would open a pull request, but if we're not approvers, the pipelines don't run automatically, but
I
someone
see.
has to run the pipeline. And for us, because of the time difference, we're in Germany, you're in the US. When we do something, we usually wait 1 or 2 days until someone triggers the pipelines. Carson and Benjamin were really fast doing this and supporting us, but I don't know. It would be good if we want more people on board, that we automate some things, or that we give access to some more people, so to speak.
Yeah, I will say, if the main challenge is just triggering the PR pipelines, the reason that for example, my approvals have previously triggered the PRs and yours haven't, is actually because the pipeline will use like the approvers list to determine who can trigger the PR pipeline. So just becoming an approver should mean that any approvals you give to PRs should trigger the pipeline. So if that's the main hurdle, we should be good there. But it's like, obviously you would like to see them as well, and other approvers like actually be able to see them rather
That's another thing. And also when we should also discuss about the build processes, and or maybe we should document them somewhere. I know that we're also running cuts for all of our main changes, but we cannot access these pipelines and things. So the whole release process, I'm reviewing peers, I don't know, dependency dumps or some other more interesting things. I can review them. My vote doesn't count, like in quotes. I know that your guys taking a look, and I've never got a question or doubt not answered by you. But it would be interesting if you also discuss in the future, if someone else apart from VMware folks does the releases, or how the whole thing can be done.
No, I hear you. So at least like as soon as you get that PR made to be an approver, you can send that to me so we can get that process done. I know in the
Okay.
networking area, all of our approvers have access to our concourse and can cut releases and things like that. So maybe I'll give Carson another action item or to look into that. You can see how we do it, and it's just
Yeah.
based on the approvers list.
In the past, we were discussing with Carson and Benjamin, but then the whole thing was, yeah, but all these pipelines are VMware internal, so it would be a bit harder to open up the things. But I guess now we can do something about it. I don't know.
I think there's some, like Amelia said, there's some prior art
Mhm.
with the networking working group that we can draw
Yeah, okay,
from.
then.
Yeah, we've mainly been lacking a forcing function. Like since it's all VMware approvers, like why spend time on this
Yeah.
for the most part? And now we have a forcing function. So sorry if there might be some growing pains, but we'll definitely try and make this better for you.
Cool.
Yeah, when
I'll be
networking did
glad
it,
to help if
we had to
you
do
need
some
any
work
help.
to separate our open source pipelines and our closed source pipelines, so that way our
Mhm.
approvers only access, the ones you care about. But it should be doable, even though it's running on our machines. That's fine. We'll give you access. You have one more thing about open telemetry.
Yeah, we started some discussion with Carson and Matthew here about the things, how can we utilize the open telemetry collector now. Now it's too early, but we have some ideas in mind, and I've written them in a Slack thread mine. So if you hear something or you need something from the open telemetry collector, we would like to hear about it, because now we're starting like slow only with metrics, but maybe we can, based on the use cases, maybe we need some adjustments in the open telemetry collector, like different processors or exporters, which we can activate for everyone in the release, and that would be also cool to see what kind of ideas people have about using the open telemetry collector, because it's new in the Cloud Foundry world, but not in the cloud world. And in the CNCF, it's a really like healthy project, so to speak, and there are people using it, and we need yeah, probably common use cases or some examples that we can show to the Cloud Foundry operators what they can do with it, because it has a lot of advantages over the syslog drains, for example, or the matrix exporter, which we will deprecate soon. So it will be cool to see what the other things about it.
Yep. And yeah, there's a long response gap with before our last response. I'm sorry about that. But we're definitely hearing your concerns and
Yeah,
trying to
no
react.
worries.
I guess with the OTO collector, I'm like very excited myself about this coming into the system. There's the flexibility, the open source support for such a wide range of receivers, exporters, processors, like the formats in which we can communicate logs and metrics and like maybe expose traces within Cloud Foundry become really exciting. I guess the danger that's represented is like this is an infinitely flexible thing, and we haven't tested it that much in like anything approaching production pipelines. So we've been super cautious about labeling this as something stable and publishing use cases when we aren't sure that they like match those use cases, I guess, to some degree. And so maybe we've been too far on the cautious side, but as things stand, we're like still trying to understand more about how it runs, optimize it, and kind of expose options more slowly to prevent it from breaking operators' systems. And obviously there's always the danger I don't, for lack of a better term, like cloud founderify it too much. For those who haven't like gone and looked at the actual job right now, you can pretty much only we've exposed a great degree of flexibility on the exporter side. You can expose like basically write any exporter configuration you want, although we have locked down the number of exporters. But there's no way to actually get at the receivers that it's hosting or the processors that it's using for specific pipelines, all things that are totally possible with OpenTelemetry Collector. I guess from our side, the like exposing those options, it feels weird to just say, put your config in this as a gigantic string in this job as a spec property. That is kind of like the thing that would give OTel Collector its maximum flexibility. But it's just like, that's not the Bosch. That doesn't feel like the Bosch way. So we've been veering towards trying to break things out into nicer property lines, at least for now. And that kind of quickly runs into limitations. Like if we want to add processors, we can have a processor's input, like a generic processor's input. But how would you, for example, say, I want this processor to only work with this exporter, or like these sets of processors to only work with these sets of exporters? Right now, it's just kind of an all or nothing thing. And so we, welcome new ideas for configuration. If there's some middle ground we can hit, but maybe in the future, if the use cases, if we're not hitting enough of them with the property approach we've taken, maybe we look at just dropping the blob of the config in the property.
But at the end, whatever we do, everything is is responsibility of the operators, so they can always create an ops file and overwrite everything that we publish with the CF deployment, for example, or with the configuration that we have in the log creator agent release. So we can play safe on our side for our foundations, but what the others will do with their foundation is their responsibility. So
yeah,
it's not that risky, I would say.
Nice. That's fair. And we can. That's a solid argument. I guess moving to just shifting gears for one sec. I just wanted to say, because I don't know if we've like talked about this on a more meta level, but my view of the OpenTelemetry Collector is that it potentially could replace our entire agent ecosystem. It has the potential to run multiple pipelines of logs and metrics and traces all at once. And so there is opportunity here where we've been struggling with, supporting different, more flexible formats where we could say, hey, actually just run the OTel Collector. Now, component apps like Diego or like UAA, one of which uses our custom log aggregator, the other which uses statsd, they could just use whatever library they want and send it straight to OTel Collector. So there's this even has the potential to like better replace some of the syslog release and definitely the syslog agent stuff we do. So there's a lot of cool stuff here. One note of caution that we haven't been broadcasting around too much because we want people to try this thing, is that in our communications with the OpenTelemetry Collector maintainers in the CNCF Slack, a lot of this is kind of greenfield new stuff. They've spent a lot of effort trying to stabilize a lot of their exporters and the collector itself, but they're not there yet. They have I don't know if you've looked at the collector itself, but it's on minor releases every couple of weeks because they haven't been able to stabilize it enough to hit a 1.0.0. So it's hard to take this thing out of experimental while we can't like trust that the interface isn't going to completely break for us in the near future.
Yeah, that's completely true. But I find it as a good possibility because it's totally flexible, and it for me it's a sort of the way forward to some kind of shared nothing to 2.0 architecture where we can move everything away and simply have some sort of an API gateway, which will expose the Locash API, and then behind it we can set whatever we want, and this Locash has its own goods and pros and cons. Maybe we can even divide it between something like Prometheus or even Thanos, which is like cluster scalable Prometheus, and something else for the logs, which would be much more flexible and going into the, so to speak, the hype with Kubernetes and CNCF. But yeah, we're not that bad. We're also good, but thing is that what's been in the ads, unfortunately, people don't.
Yeah. I'm muted. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted.
No.
Yeah, those are all interesting ideas as well. What was I gonna say? That's reminding me of the API bit is reminding me about something cool for OpenTelemetry as well, if you're interested in it. There's a technology called op-amp that is supposed to be like a specification for how you can dynamically update your running collector, which is like theoretically the supported API that could be exposed for things like syslog agent app drains. So there's like a pathway towards that kind of thing as well in a more standardized way. But yeah, talking about log cache is like, it's a weird. I'm personally open to trying to find ways to optimize or change log cache to make it better. I think I hope I've expressed that in the past. It's just hard to change such a long-standing interface and such like a tricky technology.
Yeah, the thing is that we. Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say, like, it's all trees under the hood. I was like, goodness.
Yeah, we never got that far that we think about Locash. It's good as it is. It does its job, but it can do better. But I think now the focus with the Logarithm agent release is pretty good, as we're focused on the logs and metrics consumers, and how do we get all the data out of the platform as fast as possible. And it's on the other end with the Firehose that all of the nozzles are almost deprecated and unmaintained. At some point in time we should think about removing them, but it would be hard. But or we simply let them there, but we say, okay, use it at your own risk. This is what we suggest as the latest and the greatest thing in logs and metrics in Cloud Foundry, and that's it.
Makes sense. Actually, one other thing I'd like to. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I said we have fun times in front of us.
Yes, we do. I was just gonna add that one thing I'd actually like to get your input on in Slack is the translation that we do right now for metrics in the forwarder agent is like something that we would like to be more confident in before we declare this thing as more as like stable as well. that shouldn't affect necessarily this is a side question from the like property aspect of how we configure the hotel collector. But it seems like the hotel standard way of defining metrics is like very different from the types of metrics that we've been exporting so far. And there's kind of a tension here that we're having some trouble resolving between making sure that operators can still receive metrics that they are used to and that match the like store of metrics that they may have built up over time from receiving from Logregator and from Syslog agent, while at the same time trying to get metrics to conform more to what like hotel standards say they should look like. I'd love to get your take on that, possibly in Slack. I don't know if we have time to get into that right now. Theoretically, this represents an opportunity to make a clear break towards a better standard, but at the same time, you know, these like doing a clear break is a huge pain in the butt for anyone who has built up a large store of metrics that they would like to be able to surf without major changes to that, to what those look like.
But I don't know, maybe we can do something like we keep on legacy line because the syslog agent path and the auto path don't cross each other. So we'll do what we do like in the Logregator release now, what we do with the 107 versions and the 106. So
yeah,
can do it like that.
Cool.
Okay. I'll let you continue if there's any more offline. I don't see any more action or any more items in our agenda, so I'm just going to review the action items we have. Dominic, I'll make sure someone looks at those PRs that you brought up. There's an ask for an OS design doc about the AZWare stuff. Eric, I'll maybe reach out to you offline about us doing it or someone doing it. Marking the other project boards as deprecated. I can do that. Mark, it looks like you did yours already. There's one missing so fast. I'm gonna guess it's pinned in our Slack channel already. And Carson, an action item for you about looking at how we can get those logging pipelines exposed to approvers. Great. If there's nothing else, it's been great chatting with you. And I hope you have a great day.
Bye bye.
Thank you, you too. Bye bye.
Bye, talk to you later.